Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Vampire Amazon Challenge in The Sims 4. We are following the reign of Queen Darling Cloudy Snarl, who has recently rebuilt her new court. And already it seems the ladies are split in their ambitions. As the end of the breeding season looms over them, some are scrambling to gain influence under the current queen, while others are focused on befriending the future queen of the vampires. Princess Nimue has aged up into an infant, so we're taking a look at her in Cass. It seems as though this little girl has a sunny disposition and is already showing signs that she may be cut from a different cloth to her sisters. The queen can't help looking at her and hoping that those who speak of her great destiny are right and that she'll bring some sort of balance back to the royal family. I actually find her pretty cute, which isn't a surprise given she's a child of the queen, but I can already tell she looks a little unique. In terms of genetics, she's got her mother's brown hair and blue-grey eyes, so very much like her older sister, Crown Princess Zara. It is 5:30 on a Saturday. We are picking up with the ladies, who seem to have been slowly dispersing from the bubble blower, going off doing their own various things. But guys, I am already noticing that there is a divide in the new court. There is a split. And I was trying to figure out where exactly this split was coming from, because under the previous court that we had, all of the ladies were quite invested in making sure that they had strong friendships with whoever they were serving alongside. But it seems as though not everyone feels the same this time around, especially Shannon and the way she's been acting with Lilith in particular. And I think a lot of this probably comes down to the end of the breeding season, because according to the way that these vampires work, the ladies who have bred, they are going to retire with the current queen when she leaves the throne. They are kind of, that queen's court. They belong to her, essentially. That's the final queen they will serve under. So the influence that they will be able to gain and they'll be able to use, it all comes down to, the last queen that they serve with. So I can see how they would want to have kind of good connections with each other. Whereas the ladies who are not going to be able to breed, ladies like Lilith and Caleb, they might be more invested in having a good relationship with each other as they move into the next court, which is going to be under Crown Princess Zara when she eventually takes her mother's place. And I was thinking about this and came to the realization that Shannon, as someone who is currently pregnant, she is going to retire with Queen Darling when the time comes, whereas it's more likely that Lilith is going to serve under the Crown Princess. So maybe the reason why Shannon doesn't particularly care about her demeanor towards Lilith is because she doesn't think that her relationship with Lilith is going to affect her. Like, it's not going to get bad enough that Lilith will call a judgment on her while they're in the same court. And by the time it does start getting bad, Shannon's probably going to leave or, retire with Queen Darling. So maybe that's a little bit of what's going on in Shannon's head, because I found it pretty unbelievable that Shannon would go from being this really quiet, patient sort of lady to suddenly going off at Lilith, like showing attitude to her and riling her up. I wasn't expecting that at all. And I think one of you lovelies was also talking about this in the comments, that maybe with Shannon, who, she played a big part in raising the children, she probably had some expectations coming in to the court which weren't fulfilled, and so she is not feeling too good about that. But also, you made a really good point about how, I think it was Icicle Moon, made a really good point about I need to go find who it was that made this comment, because it was a really, really good comment which explained something about, it was Icicle Moon, that explained something about the princesses, because I was wondering how the heck our princesses are turning out so rotten, and Icicle Moon said that, well, Shannon's been in charge of them. She's been in the female faculty for a while, and maybe Shannon has been coddling the princesses because she kind of doesn't have the patience to put up with their defiance, given that she is a hot-headed sim. So inadvertently, she hasn't been maybe performing that well. And Queen Darling, who's been noticing a trend with her daughters, for that reason perhaps did not make Shannon one of her counselors. She kind of saw that even though Shannon seems pretty devoted to the children, Shannon is not kind of imparting the right things onto them, and she's not preparing them for the court in the way they should be prepared. Like, she's cutting corners. But obviously to Shannon, who has been quite devout in taking care of the kids, she feels as though she deserves to have a chance at being counselor, and that's not being given to her. So she's scrambling a little bit, trying to fight tooth and nail for her place. So I thought that was an interesting point. But okay, Caleb. Caleb, guys, wants to discuss favorite recipes. So let's see who she has the closest relationship with. It's kind of cute that a lot of, her things, it's kind of focusing, or interactions are focused around food. Okay, she has a 15 with the Queen, a 15 with Lady Akira. She also has bad compatibility with Lady Akira. She has a 3 with Lilith, and she has a 26 with Shannon. Okay, so Caleb is getting along well with Shannon, and funny thing, Caleb is not one of the counselors, but she is going to, that being the interests, discuss favorite recipes. I think that might be nice, but I suppose Shannon doesn't really see Caleb as like a threat at all, which is why she's most probably behaving with Caleb. Okay, so that's done and dusted. Also, Shannon is due on 7 a.m. at Monday, so we finally managed to break the cycle of giving birth on N11, which is quite interesting. Okay, next up we have Lady Lilith, who is in her quarters. Lilith wants to meet someone new, and actually I'm thinking that most likely means Vladislav, because she has not met Vladislav yet. So let's get Vladislav over here. I'm actually just gonna teleport her literally in the hallway. And I am actually excited for Lilith to meet Vladislav because I flippin' love her. Now where is she? Lady Vladislav Ratfa. I think this woman looks like a Disney villain. And you guys know how much I love my villains, right? So let's go ahead, give her a friendly introduction. I don't know if this is going to be a good relationship or a bad one. Now, the funny thing about Vladislav is she looks like a Disney villain, but also she is evil. So I don't know how the children under her are going to be growing up, what sort of traits they might come with. It's interesting to note that while Shannon might have influenced the traits the children got as they turned into children, I imagine Vladislav is going to have a huge impact on the traits they get as they turn into teens. So I'm kind of curious to see whether Vladislav will be able to kind of shape them up, or maybe they're already kind of the ideal form for her. Them being spoiled is maybe something that Vladislav can make use of. I don't know. Is she a stern sort of governess? I have no clue. Time will tell. But I don't see Vladislav as being someone who is kind of dying to get out of there like Lily was. Lily was like a different breed, I feel. Okay, Shannon, meanwhile, wants to flirt with someone. So maybe Shannon has been realizing that she started off on the wrong foot. She still, I don't think, cares much for Lady Lilith, but she might be realizing that she has to keep her cool, because going off at the kids is very different to going off at the ladies that you are serving with. So let's see who she has the closest relationship with that she might want to flirt with. She has a 17 with the Queen, a 14 with Akira, a 22 with Lilith, so I think the bubble blowing helped, and a 29 with Caleb. Okay, she's actually gonna go, guys, and flirt with Caleb, who is having a bit of a bath. Caleb, I am so sorry. I am actually gonna wait for you to get out of here. I was gonna say I'm gonna interrupt you, but no. I don't think an interruption is needed. We'll come down and we'll I think his hands will be a little bit strong. We'll just flirt with her. We'll be a little bit flirtatious. Shannon's been getting along well with Caleb. Maybe she realizes that even within this court, she needs to make alliances. Caleb might have reminded her that her pregnancy, or you know what, I could see maybe Akira actually, because they were all sitting at the bubble blower. I could see Akira being the one with more wisdom, maybe warning Shannon that your pregnancy isn't going to help you for too long or protect you for too long. Things might have been different in the female faculty, but over here you have to make alliances and you don't go picking fights with counselors even if you feel as though you deserve their spot. So I think Shannon is heeding kind of Akira's warning, because Akira has been around the longest. Akira has seen a lot, and she's maybe wanting to make alliances, but obviously it's a little bit difficult to do that with Lilith. She's tried to patch things up with Lilith, but I think, if anything, she would want to be romantic or, you know, a little bit flirty with Caleb. So, did you line that flirt up? I don't know. I might have to line it up again. Sorry. Can we line up that flirt? Okay, there we go. So she managed to fit that in. It seems as though Caleb doesn't have any problems, you know, with her. Caleb seems to get along well with Shannon. I mean, both of them are lower members of court. They're both noble ladies. Akira, whatever you had, apparently you fulfilled on your own. So let's see what else we might be able to do. Win a game of chess. Okay, we can play a game of chess if that is something that you want to do. Let's see. So out of the ladies right now, she has the least relationship with Lady Vladislav. Okay, I think Akira can play chess with Lady Vladislav. Maybe she is curious. It's Miko's ghost! It's Miko's ghost. But I think maybe Akira is curious about her daughter's education in the female faculty, and she kind of wants to know. Oh my god, it's like, oh my god, it's Billy! It's Billy! Oh my goodness, it's Billy. Billy and Miko. I was not expecting to see them. Even though I'm used to Anaya being all over the place, I was not expecting to see them. I was going to say Akira might be curious about the kind of education her daughter Zuleika is having under this new caretaker, right? If we think about it, Vladislav is kind of the sixth member of the court. Because her position, it's supposed to be cycled along with the counselors every season. So this might be an interesting time, because I'm not sure how many days we have left until Zuleika and Zara become teens, but I think Akira would be quite invested in that, especially because I think Zuleika is someone who tries really hard, and she kind of I think is the type of girl who feels as though practice makes perfect. So she wants to live up to her mother's legacy, and I think Akira also has a big hand in guiding her daughter as much as possible. So I can see why she would want to meet with Vladislav, not just for, you know, a friendly chit chat, but seriously to know, like, how is my daughter's education doing? How is she going to fare once she does come into court? So she's checking in. And then finally, Queen Darling wants to be mischievous. So who does she have the closest relationship with? She's got a 17 with Shannon, a 15 with Caleb, a 58 with Akira, and a 20 with Lilith. So she's going to find Akira, and she is going to be mischievous. Let's come here. We'll pull a bit of a prank, something that she used to do with Billy. And you know what? Since Akira was such close friends with Billy, I could kind of see the queen trying to replicate some of the friendship she had with Billy with Akira, because she knows Akira was Billy's best friend, and maybe she's trying to find pieces of Billy in Akira. So she's gonna not spar with Lilith because we want to go and we want to pull a prank on Queenie. I'm gonna reset her. We want to go pull a prank on Akira. So let's come over here. Let's go pull a prank. Come upstairs. Let's scare. Either you start marching or Akira does. Okay, you're gonna start marching. Wonderful. But guys, isn't it wild what a long way Akira has come from the very beginning? She went from having so much trouble socializing with the queen and having bad compatibility to being her closest counselor and also having kind of the best relationship with her in the current court. Right now, she is the queen's only friend. And I think they are each other's only friend right now. And they are a remnant of the old court, right? And I feel like Shannon falls into the old court as well. Caleb and Lilith and Vladislav, they're kind of members of the new court. And there's a high chance they're going to end up serving under Zara. Okay, how did that go? Did Akira take that well? I don't know if she did. I hope she did. She seems to be feeling decent. And I love that Prince Zaro is doing the same thing to Akira, because Prince Zaro actually has, I think, the closest relationship with the queen. If we were to look at everyone's relationships, she's actually the closest to her son, her firstborn, Zaro. So I love that. He kind of saw his mother playing a prank on Akira and he decided to do the same. Oh, that's so cute. As night gave way to the early hours of morning, Lady Caleb sought out Shannon to discuss some fine cuisine. The boiled eggs were a nice gesture for the kids, but she had some ideas for new recipes she wanted to try, and so far she felt the most comfortable around Shannon. Lady Lilith was having a harder time adjusting than anticipated. A lot of things had fallen into place as soon as she'd come into the castle, like the position of counselor, but what really mattered to her was having a happy family within the court. And as these thoughts floated around in her mind, she played the organ. Lady Shannon's pregnancy progressed further along, spurring her hot-headedness. But she'd learned her lesson about keeping her temper in check, and now she craved a different way to let out her pent-up frustration. She summoned Evie to serve her, and claimed a kiss that instantly cooled the fire in her veins. Lady Akira found herself keeping an eye on the newer members as they navigated the complexities of court life. She had to remind Shannon that her pregnancy wouldn't protect her forever, and that regardless of which queen she was fated to serve under, peace within the court was paramount. For Queen Darling, there were other things of more concern than whether her ladies were getting along. Now that her daughters were getting older, she was starting to see the gaps in their education, and there was only so much she could do to hide it. It was quite apparent now that Shannon had failed in her duty to prepare the girls for life at court. We are jumping back in with the ladies. It is pretty much 11 p.m. on Sunday. Let's see what else they would like to get done before we kind of wrap up. So Lady Caleb wants to cook a meal. She was talking about a bunch of ideas she was having earlier on regarding fine cuisine with Shannon. So she is bubbling with ideas, but I don't know if she has the skill set to be able to make them. She might not actually have the skill set. Yeah, you know what? She is gonna try her luck at making some Andromeda cake. Yeah, she's gonna go down, she's gonna bake some cake. Again, to spoil the kids, the youngsters. I think Caleb is actually doing a really good job of maintaining a healthy relationship with all the ladies that she's serving with, plus the children that she knows she will maybe work really closely with under the next queen. She's kind of balancing that fine line, and I feel like she's doing really well, spreading out her kind of duties, taking initiative, but making sure not to aggravate anyone. And unlike Lily, she's actually not getting super uncomfortably close to the princess or to anyone. If anything, she's only really spoken to Dame Zuleika right now. So I think that's actually quite nice of Caleb. So I am happy for her. Let's get this cake made. See how pretty it looks when it all comes out. And of course, oh, look at that. That's such a pretty cake. And of course, she's going to leave this for the youngsters to come and eat. And the children, of course, will know that Lady Caleb, lovely Lady Caleb, is the one who made that for everyone. So, okay, and then Lady Lilith wants to go play violin. So, interestingly enough, she is sitting here, chatting with Shannon, who has obviously been trying to patch things up with her. But I think Shannon is going to be quite two-faced right now if she is keeping her frustration at bay. But Lilith, she, I think, is a little bit like Anaya in that she's not about the drama. Actually, can we come up? Is the violin in a difficult place? Okay, can we come up and play the violin? But she's a bit like Anaya, I imagine, who's not so much about, the gossiping and what's happening with everyone else. I think Lilith came in here with the intention of seeing what a, happy noble family is like. I think she wanted to have a stable family feeling within the court because she comes from a family of gamblers, and I don't think there was a lot of warmth there. So she's trying to find that in the court, and unexpectedly it's being a little bit difficult because it's not as though she fought for the role of counselor. She just made a good impression on the queen, and that's kind of why she got the role. She doesn't even know some of these other ladies, but they seem to have, a chip on their shoulder against her. And I think Lilith, she's deep in thoughts about these kind of these things happening, but she would rather kind of stick to herself, play the organ, play the violin, and not be in places that is going to cause, I think, more issues. So poor little Lilith, and she even got a fear of failure earlier on. So now that someone like Shannon has begun to behave a certain way towards her, I think Lilith is even more concerned about failing her role as a counselor, whether or not she's going to be able to do the best that she can. She wasn't worried about it before, but now she kind of is. Lilith, I feel so sad for her. Okay, meanwhile, Shannon wants to flirt with someone. So yeah, she has kind of changed her tactics. She's trying to be friendly with everyone because she knows that's what's expected of her, but also this is a way for her to kind of let out her pent-up frustration. She's self-assured. She's a confident sim, so she never really expected to underperform in any way. And suddenly the queen, without explaining to her that the princesses are displaying some concerning attributes, has decided that apparently she hasn't done kind of well enough to get the role of counselor, and that is grating on her nerves. But who does she have the closest relationship with among the ladies? She has a 34 with Caleb, a 20 with Queen Darling, a 32 with Lilith, and a 28 with Akira. Okay, so she's gonna go to Caleb, and she is going to try and, let's see, she's gonna embrace Caleb. So she actually really enjoys the company of Caleb, I think, again, because she doesn't see Caleb as a threat at all. And we just had our stove explode, but that's fine. We have plenty of simoleons, we can take care of that. But she's gonna go up, she is going to embrace Caleb, and I think she kind of sees Caleb as the link to kind of everyone else. And I don't think Shannon can ever see, how I talked about Caleb balancing the role between the youngsters, the new court, and the old court really well. She's not stepping on anyone's toes, and I don't think Shannon can see her ever becoming a competition. Now, she tried to embrace Caleb. Apparently she was coming on a bit too strong, and Caleb kind of rejected that. Let's see if she can maybe compliment her appearance. It's already awkward. I don't know how Nope. Caleb's not liking this. Okay, well, I am gonna complete that because she kind of did try and flirt, but I think Caleb saw her coming on a bit too strong, and Caleb wanted to back up a little bit because Caleb, as someone who is balancing the fine line between being everyone's friends, has maybe kind of noticed that there is some strife between Lilith and Shannon, and maybe she interpreted Shannon trying to embrace her here in front of Lilith as like a political move, and she was like, no, I'm not gonna be a prop in whatever fight you guys are having. Okay, Akira, meanwhile, wants to share insecurities. So let's see who she has the closest relationship with. She has a 58 with the Queen, a 15 with Lady Caleb, a 28 with Shannon, and a 13 with Lilith. So she is going to go to the Queen, and she is going to try and share her insecurities. Now, this is something she used to do with, Miko back in the day, and then eventually Billy. But now, out of everyone that's kind of left, Queen Darling is the closest one to her. And over the years, they've been becoming more friends, like better friends, especially in regards to their children, and a whole lot of deep conversations that she has had with the Queen over, setting up marriages in the future and all of that. And now with the new court, Akira, I think, feels a sense of social responsibility towards the newcomers in terms of keeping an eye on them and trying to guide them down the right path. But I feel like for deep topics, she would still kind of resort to the Queen for those. I don't know if the newcomers kind of have what it takes right now to handle what she's saying, like her insecurities, with tact. Okay, and Darling wants to freshen up in the mirror some more. So actually, let's go downstairs. Let's have some privacy. Actually, hold on. Can we get her? Let's you know what? Yeah, let's go down. Let's go down, freshen up here, away from everyone else. Let everyone kind of speak to each other, have their own one-on-ones. Sometimes the Queen does need a bit of a break. And yeah, I think she's definitely more taken up at this point, looking at her daughters as they age. As teenhood gets ever closer for Zara, she's starting to worry a lot more about how her daughters are going to turn out than the drama happening within her court, and whether or not the new ladies and the older ladies are mingling well. That's not something that the Queen, I think, would have stressed too much about in the past, but she is quickly realizing that, the caretakers that she entrusted with her children's education, they don't seem to, or Shannon doesn't seem to have had everything in hand, and I think she's hoping that Vladislav is going to be a better caretaker, someone who's able to maybe fix the youngsters up before they become teens. But yeah, her head is kind of elsewhere at this point. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.